After the chameleon reforms of the 4th century BC, the Roman army of the 3rd century BC had gone through a drastic change since the 4th century BC. This is possibly due to the many conflicts that Rome had faced during the 4th century BC, such as the wars with the Samnites, Etruscans, Greek city-states, Italians, and Latin tribes. Because of these conflicts with their neighbors, it is highly believed that the Roman military changed by the 3rd century BC, possibly into a more practical design compared to the earlier century. In such, the military system of the Roman units in the 4th century BC had either been incorporated into new units or were outright removed entirely. An example of this is with the leves, ascensi, and rorii. In the 3rd century BC, the Triarii were a heavy class older military unit. In fact, these were what you would call the old farts of the Roman army, who were still fighting for reputation and glory. Many Triarii could even become Roman centurions if the career path was set for them. The Triarii were the last line of defense of the Roman military war machine. In such, if both Hastati and Principes failed to actually break the enemy lines, then the Triarii would be called, which gives us the infamous line, "So it has come down to Triarii." Wool tunics would actually be worn instead of the Mediterranean light tunics. Possibly to add a little more protection, these came in a variety of colors, as no uniform style of tunic was actually worn. Footwear would be of the everyday style design, possibly because one, this was very commonly used. This would change by the 2nd or 1st century BC. The Triarii were known to have worn a form of greaves to protect their legs on the field of battle. It is indicated, though, that on the field of battle that the Triarii would only wear one form of greave, possibly because of how expensive they were. That or the style of warfare changed in the form that they didn't need a pair of greaves anymore. Just like the Roman Principes, woolen jerkin would be worn underneath the mail armor, possibly to actually provide a form of cushioning. Of how much is little known. Urbi ferro flamaque minatus est, urbi ferro flamaque minatus est, aecoli meminis iuavi, aecoli meminis iuavi. The Loric Hamata, as stated prior, was also a very highly used armor by this point. However, it is highly believed that this armor had many styles and designs. As indicated with the mantle, these would have a form of pictorial symbolism of Rome. However, there are various designs, some in which was just a coin, other indications of a medallion. So it depended on the user. The Triarii by this point were starting to wear a new design of belt, making him show off to his opponents, saying of his wealth and status. In fact, there's not much indication of what this would have looked like, so yeah. Although we do know that it would have been decorated with bronze or brass or even gold, depending on the user. Unlike the other military units, the Triarii were known to have used a pugio, possibly for a form of defense, if they had lost their main weapon. However, though, this one is very limited of information to go on. The sword of the Roman military at this point was actually the infamous Gladius Delius, or Gladius Gallius. This was a sword of the Roman military from the 4th to about all the way into the 1st century AD. It is unknown though how long this sword was used, but it is indicated that this sword had started to fall out of favor by the time of the 2nd century BC for the infamous Gladius Hispaniensis. The Triarii were known to use the Italio-Corinthian style helmet. This was the helmet of the Roman military war machine of the upper class, and would be used throughout the entirety of the military units, such as centurions and even Roman cavalry. The scutum was the heavy style shield of the Roman military. This was the shield of the Roman military war machine, and would continue to be used throughout the centuries. The pilum. The pilum was the infamous Roman throwing javelin. This style of weapon was copied from the Celts of Iberia. However, during the 4th and 3rd century, many historians argue on how the Romans acquired this form of throwing weapon. Most historians actually believe that it was actually acquired either through trade or through a form of conflict of fighting, possibly with the Celts in northern Italy. Unlike the other Roman military units, the Triarii would have known to use the spear. This was actually a very common style of weapon, but in such, they were the last military unit to possibly use them.
superbia estit legione, nostra superbia estit legione, et pugans veritatus est domus gensque, et pugans veritatus est domus gensque, et pugans veritatus est domus gensque, et pugnans veritatus est domus gensque. Domitores Britanorum procedite. Eras vera ad astra, erar tua ad astra, exurge Mars sultor, Roma et imperator. Eras vera ad astra, erar tua ad astra,